Hey there, Meteorologist John Burchfield here with this week's edition of the Climate Friday newsletter. Hope you're staying cool during this late June heat wave that has impacted not only us here at home, but also a good portion of the United States experiencing record-setting heat for a very long duration of time. So in this week's edition of the Climate Friday newsletter, we're going to be talking about this late June heat wave and just how unusual it is, and also how many records did we set in the Toledo area, and how does it compare to historic heat from past years. We're going to answer all of those questions in this week's edition, and also look ahead towards some changes in the weather pattern that you can expect as we turn over the calendars from June into July. So let's first of all start off by talking about the records that were set this week. We have a pair of them, two records at least tied or shattered in the Toledo area. The first one was on Monday, June 23rd, and we hit a record of 96 degrees, and that ties a record that is over a century old from 1911 that was also at 96. Tuesday set the record at 96 as well, and that one single-handedly beat the old record of 95 degrees. And again, that's Tuesday, June 24th, that shattered the previous record that was 95 from 2005. That's a little more recent of a record, but a pair of record highs were established in the Toledo area. So here's where we stand for the weekly high temperatures. The late June heat wave really set in on Saturday. That was our first 90-degree day of the season, and that was later than usual. Typically, we see our first 90-degree day around June 12th, but Saturday was the first 90 of the season. So even with climate change, it goes to show that we can still be a little late to the party in terms of the heat. Now, that being said, we more than made up for it this week with 95-degree temperature readings on Sunday. No record there, but Monday and Tuesday, that denotes record high temperatures. Wednesday, we hit 94, and that was not a record because Wednesday is a historic day, the warmest ever recorded June temperature in Toledo that surged to 104. That's why we didn't get the record on Wednesday, because June 25th of 1988 was the hottest ever June day logged in the Toledo area. Now, 1988 was also a summer of historic heat, and that is a summer that will go down in the record books as one of the hottest ever in the Toledo area. Not only did Toledo see records this week, but also a good portion of the U.S., including many metro areas along the East Coast, where temperatures surged to the triple digits in Boston, setting a record. In Central Park, temperatures got up to 99 degrees. That was Tuesday afternoon, and triple-digit temperature readings were also reported in Philadelphia. That set a record, and in Baltimore, 105-degree temperature readings. Many of those major metro areas along the East Coast saw record temperatures that peaked Tuesday afternoon, with many locations reporting triple digits. Now, in Toledo, to give you a little perspective, we hit a record high of 96 degrees on Tuesday. However, we were actually several degrees cooler. I know cool is relative compared to many of those metro areas along the East Coast. New York City at Central Park, an observation of 99. Newark, New Jersey set a record of 103. Boston also in the triple digits, and Philadelphia and Baltimore, each of which set record highs with temperatures over the 100-degree mark. Now, due to the prevalence of this heat nationwide, there has been a historic need for air conditioning and electricity this week, and the last time that electricity demand was this high was in 2011 as a result of this extreme heat. So why is the weather pattern so hot? High pressure has been stationed over the central United States, and that high is gradually going to shift to the south and southeast. Essentially, that means the heat is going to back off across the Great Lakes region, and that gray color indicates more seasonable temperatures heading into the first week of July. There's been an area of low pressure stationed out towards New Mexico and Arizona, and that's actually brought below average temperatures for them. Of course, below average is relative in a very hot part of the country, and with high pressure building over the Pacific Northwest, that is going to create a heat wave out towards the Mountain West and the Pacific Northwest. Now, this weather map takes us through the first week of July, and with that high gradually receding towards the southeast, I do expect temperatures to moderate and become a little more seasonable. Now, this type of heat is becoming more commonplace, in part due to climate change. Extreme heat and high heat index is becoming more common. This map shows the days with a heat index over 90, which we have felt abundantly this week. And this is in looking at the Toledo area in particular. In the last half century or so, there has been some year-to-year variance, but overall, we are seeing 6 more days in the calendar year with a heat index over 90, and there has been an upward trajectory as a result of seeing those warmer temperatures. Now, globally, the extreme heat continues to proliferate year after year, and in the past decade, essentially every single year has surpassed the previous as the hottest on record globally. 2024 was the hottest year across the world ever since weather observations started back in the 1850s, and it's very likely that 2025 is going to take the cake. Now, as we turn over the calendar into July, temperatures are going to be turning a little more seasonable after this historic June heat wave, and we still have several more 90-degree days ahead. So subscribe to that Climate Friday newsletter and stay tuned to the WTOL 11 weather team for the latest. We'll see you next week.